Alright, it looks like after the launch of Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, things are settling down for the games, but the craziness of Pokemon news is finally happening again. So during the San Diego Regional Championships, their manual sprite selector for team previews accidentally showed off Scarlet and Violet style menu sprites for Pokemon that are not currently in the games. They probably have art for all 1008 species to use for the future. And yeah, that's an official Pokemon stream was showing sprites of unreleased Pokemon. That's pretty interesting, and interesting enough to go fairly viral. And there's also other news to break down about new moves in Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. So if you enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, share with your friends, and comment your thoughts down below. So PokeExperto kind of showing more Pokemon that were accidentally shown on the VGC stream. Seems like they take it a little further. Surely this is a sneak peek at future plans. And that's why Matt said, it's probably just all 1008 species that they just have the sprites for. And that makes sense, because you can look at this two ways. Yeah, Pokemon Home. Pokemon Home, they're going to have a feature, they're going to update it. Also, if you're just going to be doing a new art style for your Pokemon, you should just have all of the sprites ready at some point, all that internal stuff, even if you're not going to immediately use it. But then, when you see the Pokemon they showed, it ticks that part of your brain where you go, but what about DLC? Like, is this actually just what they have? The reason why it was so prepped is it's more directly related to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet for the inevitable DLC at some point. And fossil Pokemon also go into that because, oh, no fossil Pokemon on launch. That's kind of weird, but eventually you get the fossil Pokemon in the generation, whether it's like third version, DLC, something like that. And that would line up for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, especially with some of these off Pokemon that are more DLC filler kinds. So this could also be, yeah, they just have all of this ready, even though I don't think there's, like, VGC rules are set. It's not like DLC comes out and then the 2023 rule set is going to bring back all of these Pokemon and fossils and the new Pokemon being introduced. So the resources are just there and officially accessible and accidentally being shown. And then Kurt comes in and it gets even crazier. Hydro Steam and Psyblade are selectable moves in the Arcanine Labs VGC team builder. So you use this to submit your team. It's also like a Pokemon tournament organizer tool, and all the game data is there for some reason with the new moves Psyblade and Hydro Steam, and then people are naturally taking that to the obvious conclusion. Hydro Steam for Suicune Paradox, Psyblade for Virizion Paradox, and then like some people are kind of going crazier like into the direct type speculation about that, like Psychic Steel, Fire, Water, Hydro Steam kind of coming together, and then hey, this could be double type moves like we see with Flying Press, and that would just be like gimmick on top of gimmick on top of subversion on top of shenanigans, which kind of seems like where Game Freak is going. And that just kind of goes back to all the DLC discussion, because it's pretty relevant, and I wonder if everyone just got burned out from the leaks. The leaks said, oh, there's going to be a Virizion and a Suicune Paradox Pokemon, maybe in the games, maybe it got pushed back into the DLC. And then the game comes, well, not comes out early, but the game gets leaked early, data mined, everyone finds out stuff. It's like, yeah, official game imagery of unreleased Pokemon that tie into all the craziness and weirdness of Paradox forms. It seems like it could drum up a lot of speculation, but then it just kind of seems obvious at the same time. Like, okay, kind of already knew about this. Doesn't really have any place, doesn't really have any meaning until we get a major update or some kind of DLC. But then the DLC pops off and it gets even crazier. But yeah, Hydro Steam makes sense for in Suico. And then we have this abomination as well for the Swords of Justice, and then Psyblade on the Swords of Justice with all the parts and weirdness and stuff coming together like that. And then just more for the DLC, because what about the third legendary Pokemon? Where's the third legendary Pokemon? How does all this relate to terrestrialization? Why are there eyes on the little terrestrialization crown that my Pokemon have, and all these other details and things that don't quite add up? So it just kind of seems like we have the pieces, it's things we know about, but when it starts getting more accidental reveals and stuff, it brings it back into discussion, where there's really nothing else we can speculate about this until like the Pokemon Home update comes out, which seems to be like it's not happening before Pokemon Day. If it does, then like the data mine can come through, or extra information about Pokemon Home and stuff, say, oh hey, here's where the sprites went. Now here's the dump for that, and you can use that for art and whatever. Or maybe because this kind of already exists in the official Pokemon formatting for like some kind of way to get ready for the future. Maybe when Pokemon Home comes out, you data mine in it, and then there's going to be like game versions, and we can actually see the DLC Pokedex list and all kinds of other weird stuff. Then there's going to be the interactions with the Pokemon Legends Pokemon, new forms, new Pokemon, placeholders, move, data, stuff like that. So Pokemon Home's going to be pretty crazy. If that happens before the Pokemon Day announcement, that's going to be a thing. And then February 28th, Pokemon Presents, that's going to be the natural time that we get the DLC announcement, like we saw with Pokemon Sword and Shield. So that's going to get like time frame. Is it summer? Is it going to be a huge winter update? What other new Pokemon games are happening? And then how all of this ties together even more. Or it could also just be they have sprites, and it's not going to be crazy. And because we've data mined everything out of Pokemon Home, data mined everything out of the games and stuff before, they're not going to be as sloppy. Now the argument is, but they were sloppy here. So who even knows at this point? Tell me what you guys think down below. What do you think is happening with all this? Is this going to be DLC Pokemon, or is it just a coincidence with the Pokemon that were accidentally revealed on stream? How significant do you think all the Hydro Steam and Psyblade stuff is? Because we already effectively knew DLC shenanigans were happening, and then like all this exclusive stuff on the Pokemon is really cool, but the extra speculation of like, ooh, dual type moves coming back, or theming into that Pokemon, it's better than nothing. So we got a little bit extra until the reveal, or maybe because the Pokemon Company has been so stingy with reveals, we won't know about any of the stuff until the DLC comes out whenever it ends up coming out. Whether we get that summer again, or it's just going to be like Pokemon Scarlet and Violet, huge enough part 2 to justify its own winter release and stuff like that. Or maybe it could just be a major update that happens in March, April. Who even knows with Pokemon Company anymore? So Pokemon Day gets a little bit more interesting. The announcements get interesting. Like I said, we actually have Pokemon news happening again. Back to news season, boys. It's January. It's the new year. Oh, right. When I was editing this video, there was something in the back of my head nagging me about like DLC and times and Pokemon Presents and stuff. January 9th was when we got the announcement for the expansion pass. And that kind of changes everything and messes up a lot of things because it makes it to where we're not tied to specific landmark moments for crazy Pokemon news. It used to be E3, big summer announcements and trailers and presents, but COVID effectively crumbled that part of the gaming industry, and it seems like Nintendo and the Pokemon Company aren't trying to hold to that tradition, and the Pokemon Company been very stingy with trailers regardless. And even though this revealed almost 2 months earlier than Pokemon Day, we got a lot of news, legendary Pokemon, new Pokemon reveals, details about the games, trailers for not only the first expansion, but the second expansion that's happening later in the year with like the normal release date of the Pokemon game. It was a lot of stuff. So I'm guessing like there's also an angle, and then there was a lot of fun stuff to extract from like the size of the area and the regions and all the fun, cool stuff that's happening with the DLC, since it's unlike anything we've ever seen before. So how big is the Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC announcement, and how much does it tie into all of this stuff? Is it just back to Pokemon Day, everything adds up, everything makes sense again, or are we actually going to be doing something else? Or is it that when the Pokemon Home update is ready, that's when we get the big trailer, the big Pokemon Presents, and all of the future game information related to Pokemon Scarlet and Violet DLC and stuff like that? I don't know, this stuff's getting too zoomer for me. I just miss Pokemon news making sense and everything being cool. But now we just have, like, whatever happens, happens, and it's only half the information because Pokemon doesn't like news. Hope you guys enjoy the video, and then we have to data mine the rest. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.